Hey there, today we're diving into After the Dark, a sci-fi thriller that challenges your mind with thought-provoking scenarios and philosophical exercises. Warning! Spoilers ahead! Sit back and enjoy the journey. The movie begins with two college students, James and Petra, enjoying some time together. The next day, James oversleeps and ends up arriving late to his philosophy class, just as his teacher, Zimmit, is about to close the door. However, since it's the last day of class, Zimmit allows him in. The lecture begins with Zimmit discussing the thought exercises he had taught them, which were designed to help them navigate survival in the modern world. The students recall the challenging lessons they learned throughout the year. One exercise explores the theory that if a monkey is given a typewriter and an infinite amount of time, it could eventually type out an entire book. A student humorously comments that if the monkey were George R.R. Martin, the books might never get finished. After this light moment, Zimmit informs them they will engage in one final thought experiment before the class ends. In this exercise, the students must imagine surviving an apocalyptic scenario. The scene shifts to a simulation of atomic bombs detonating in the distance. Zimmit takes them to a bunker and explains it can only hold 10 people for a year. James suggests that everyone could stay in the bunker, but Zimmit points out the limited oxygen supply and the time required for radiation levels to return to safe limits. Petra finds the idea of choosing who gets to survive cruel and wants to leave the experiment. However, Zimmit threatens to lower James's grade if she opts out, forcing her to stay. He then distributes cards to the students, each one detailing their hypothetical profession. These roles will determine who is deemed essential for survival in the bunker. When the cards are distributed, Zimmit has a strange reaction, coughing conspicuously as Petra and James choose their cards. The students read their roles aloud. James is a farmer, and Petra is an engineer. In the simulated setting, Zimmit abruptly shoots one of the students whose role is a poet, justifying his actions by saying that poetry has no utility in survival situations. Zimmit himself also has a role in the exercise, though his profession is kept secret. It's up to the students to decide whether or not he should be included in the bunker. One by one, the students justify their worthiness for inclusion in the bunker, followed by a vote to decide their fate. When it comes down to the final spot, the group must choose between an opera singer and Zimmit. Ultimately, they select Zimmit, suspecting his hidden skill may prove valuable. After the final decision, the chosen candidates say brief goodbyes to those left behind. Once the group enters the bunker, they hear gunshots and discover Zimmit has killed the students who were excluded. Petra is particularly shaken and tells James she doesn't want Zimmit in the bunker. James devises a plan, and when everyone else rushes to the bunker, they lock Zimmit out. Inside, the group explores the facilities while Zimmit, now exposed to radiation, lingers outside. Petra checks on him and finds him in dire condition. Before collapsing, Zimmit shows her a piece of paper stating he is the only one who knows the exit code to the bunker. The group dismisses this as a ploy to gain their sympathy. They decide to endure the year and worry about the consequences later. As time passes, life inside the bunker becomes increasingly unbearable. Petra continues to visit Zimmit's lifeless body outside, guilt-ridden about their decision. A year later, when it's time to leave the bunker, they realize Zimmit was telling the truth. They need his code to open the door. Despite their best efforts to break out, they fail and eventually suffocate as the oxygen runs out. The scene shifts back to the classroom, where Zimmit reveals that his profession in the exercise was a bunker builder, and only he had the knowledge to unlock the door. He admonishes the students for not thinking logically and trusting him. Zimmit then initiates another thought experiment, taking them to a setting with erupting volcanoes. In this new scenario, the students draw new cards to determine their roles. James is once again an organic farmer but now identifies as gay, while Petra is an electrical engineer. The group shuffles some of the previous candidates, ensuring Zimmit has a spot this time since only he knows the bunker's code. As the exercise progresses, a volcanic avalanche engulfs the unselected students attempting to escape by car. Meanwhile, inside the bunker, Petra catches James in an intimate moment with another student. Heartbroken, she distances herself and later decides to partner with Zimmit in the group's efforts to repopulate. Despite multiple attempts, no pregnancies occur. Zimmit suggests switching partners, but one student, Bonnie, strongly opposes his idea, accusing him of always taking control. It gets angry and leaves the room. After a while, he returns with a gun and points it at Bonnie. He then orders everyone to leave the room except Bonnie. Despite Zimmit's orders, Jack, who likes Bonnie, hides behind the door. When Zimmet is about to shoot her, Jack attacks him from the back. The two fight, and Jack somehow manages to stab Zimmet with a pencil. Because of the injury, Zimmet becomes desperate for revenge. He immediately heads out and opens the entrance door of the bunker. Sadly, the volcanic fire enters the place and kills everyone within seconds. Back in the classroom, James asks Zimmet why he coughed earlier when distributing the cards to him and Petra. Zimmet replies that he has a cold, but James is suspicious about it, mentioning that he doesn't care about his grades. James pretends to leave the classroom, but just then, he grabs Zimmet's box and rushes outside. On opening the box, James learns that Zimmet has been tricking him and Petra by tampering with their cards every single time. He returns to the classroom and confronts Zimmet for his act, calling it cheating. However, Zimmet defends himself by saying that he was trying to prepare James for real-world scenarios, bringing him out of his privileged life. James still does not believe his teacher, so he suggests that they go through the third round of the thought exercise. The whole class also agrees, and Zimmet is forced to comply. In the following scene, the group again arrives on an imaginary island that is going to be attacked with nuclear bombs. As soon as they reach there, Zimmet goes to the bunker to do a quick inspection. Inside, he grabs a gun for himself and hides the rest. He hears a voice inside the bunker but does not pay much attention to it. Once outside, Petra goes to Zimmet and gives him a warm hug, mentioning that all of them have been hard on him. Petra then approaches the group and asks them to trust her as she is going to select the candidates this time. Everyone agrees, and the selection begins. Surprisingly, Petra goes against Zimmet's suggestions and starts choosing individuals who might pose a risk or lack technical expertise, such as an opera singer and a poet. Petra excludes herself and selects James to fill the last spot for the bunker. Zimmet mentions that they will not survive as the group she selected has no expertise to prepare anything. However, Petra defends herself by saying that the group can at least enjoy their time while inside. Zimmet reaches for his bag for his gun but is surprised to not find it there. Petra then comes forward and tells Zimmet that she took out the gun while they were talking to each other earlier. Zimmet takes the gun from her and points it at James to shoot him, but James is already holding a rifle, which Zimmet hid while inspecting the place. Zimmet then reminds them that they will require the code to exit the bunker and that he is the only one who knows it. To his surprise, Bonnie, who also has an excellent IQ, recites the code for him. It turns out she had seen Zimmet using the code during the second experiment. Having no other choice, Zimmet walks away. A while later, when Petra and the other unselected classmates also prepare to leave, she realizes that they do not have the key to the boat. Just then, Chip, one of the bunker candidates, tells Petra that he has the keys. When she goes to retrieve them, Chip cleverly pulls Petra inside the bunker, steps out, and closes the door. After this, he runs towards the boat with his other friends and tries to reach the nearby island before the nuclear bombs are dropped. Inside the bunker, the group enjoys their time by painting, singing, and doing all the things they like. James expresses his love for Petra, but for some reason, she cannot return the sentiment. After spending a whole year of fun and creativity, the group steps out of the bunker and is shocked to find the island still in its original state without any nuclear attack. Despite Zimmet's narration that they would all perish since none of them have the technological abilities to survive, they have come this far. However, since all their supplies have run out, they don't have much time to live. Moments later, a nuclear warhead lands on the beach. As the group has already enjoyed a full year, they're ready to embrace death. James makes his way to detonate the warhead, but just then, a barbaric-looking Zimmet arrives with his gun and tells James to step away. It turns out that he lived in a nearby cave for the entire year. He threatens to shoot James, but surprisingly, the other survivors stand in front of James. After this, the group detonates the warhead together, and everyone is killed. The scene shifts back to the class, where Zimmet mentions that the most recent exercise was unpleasant. Everyone departs when the lesson is over, but Petra stays behind and accuses Zimmet of trying to punish her and James with the exercise. James, in Zimmet's opinion, does not deserve Petra. Here it is revealed that Zimmet has been having an affair with Petra, and during the whole exercise, he was just trying to punish James. Petra tells Zimmet that intelligence isn't the only factor to consider when it comes to survival and satisfaction. She then tells him that she loves James and leaves the classroom. The movie ends with Zimmet sitting by himself in the classroom, contemplating different thought exercises like before. Eventually, He reaches into his drawer for a revolver, and a gunshot can be heard. That's it for our exploration of After the Dark, a movie that reminds us how powerful and complex our decisions can be when put to the test. Thanks for watching, and let us know your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more deep dives into fascinating films.